of the mass shooting in Monterey, California, where at least 10 people were killed during Lunar New Year celebrations there. We are speaking this morning with State Senator John Liu. Thank you again for being with us to talk about how this has affected the Asian American community here in our area. So you were talking about the New Year's celebrations that you attended this weekend. Can you tell us how, did you feel the mood changed within the community here after what we saw happen Saturday?
Yeah, there was definitely an undercurrent of despair, kind of, because we've had these last couple of years of a real onslaught of anti-Asian hate, somewhat coincident with the pandemic, and people, are very sensitive to the safety aspect and making and feeling like we've been collectively victims and targets. That of course, we tried our best not to let it get in the way of ringing in the New Year. The Lunar New Year is very important to Asian Americans, obviously here in New York as well as the rest of the world. And so, people kept their chins up, but there certainly was this thought of, 10 Asian Americans being killed by a gunman. Yesterday we did not know that the killer is apparently Asian American, and that we didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
So that uncertainty did dampen somewhat the spirits. But look, I think the community was out there celebrating as best as it could to put the past behind us and turn over a new leaf in this year of the rabbit.
Yeah, well, you did mention that, we're still trying to figure out a motive. According to police, that 72-year-old gunman who shot up the Star Ballroom was a Chinese-American immigrant. He was also a regular at the dance studio. Do we know anything else about the history of this guy other than he might have had a little bad blood with some of the other patrons at that dance studio?
Yeah, well, we're certainly calling upon the authorities in Monterey Park and the LA area to get to the bottom of this. And I think the community, both locally out in the West Coast as well as here, are anticipating or looking forward to really knowing the truth. At this point, there doesn't seem to be very conclusive information, and we hope that there is, so that the community nationwide can get some sense of closure here. But it also reminds us that the anti-Asian hate continues, and we need to undertake measures to combat that.
Yeah, that's what's interesting. The Asian American population is growing here. And crimes against Asian Americans are also growing. Do you think police are doing enough to protect this particular community? And do you think that there needs to be more steps that are taken to make sure everyone is safe?
I think that people felt the NYPD did step up in light of, in New York City, there is always a fear of copycat crimes and attacks. And so I believe the NYPD was out there extremely alert. And as far as I know, no incidents, no negative incidents happened yesterday related to the festivities. We clearly need to do more to enhance public safety. Here in New York, it's about police and preventative actions. It's also about teaching people about the Asian American community. Hate, the root of hate is ignorance. And when people don't know a whole lot about the Asian American community, it just makes it that much easier for us to become targets. So one of the long-term things is that we need to teach everybody, starting with our public schools, about what the Asian American experience has been and what Asian American history is all about. That we're not just these.
Yeah, Senator, Sherry Cola was the actress that we had before we did your story, talking about her film shortcomings, but also talking about what happened in Monterey Park. Representation matters. There are currently 5 AAPI members serving on the New York City Council. You were elected the first Asian American New York City Council member in 2002. You served as the first Asian American comptroller. You're currently one of 2 Asian American state senators in Albany. This obviously isn't enough. More representation needs to be forthcoming, correct?
Yes, she brought up a very good point, and representation does matter. We certainly need more. We're not close to representing the portion of the population that Asian Americans represent in New York City or state. But we are making some positive progress. More Asian Americans were elected to the city council, as you noted, in 2021. Last year, we actually did very well for the community. We now have 10 Asian American legislators in Albany, 4 in the state Senate and 6 in the state Assembly. And Grace Meng continues to be our only Congress member. So we do need more representation at all levels. It's about representation in government, but it's also about the general public getting a better understanding about Asian Americans, that we're not just this either model minority or perpetual foreigner, which is something that we all are victimized with. It's a range of actions and progress that will be necessary so that we can truly feel protected and safe and not singled out.
And Asian Americans need to feel that their voices are being heard. Thank you so much, State Senator John Liu, for taking the time to speak with us this morning, and a happy Lunar New Year to you.
Thanks for having me. Happy New Year.
All right, sir. Thank you once again.